Shout out to all my Aborigines out there. It's it's a lot going on with us lately. We've been coming across a lot of information, through several different people, or we've been tracking our own genealogy and coming up with the pieces to the puzzle. But I believe together, as we go along and we keep the research going and make sure our elders and young ones continue this research and try to put everything back together as it was before so we can actually understand everything we need to know, because our history was stripped from us. you know our mindsets were changed by the separations from our ancestors, from their kids being stripped from them and separated and taken other places. It's hard to pass down information, knowledge, if you're separated from the people that has the knowledge. So it's one thing that we're mad at Caucasian people, but it's another thing that it's a small group, very small group of them that actually dictated and moderated in all of this construction, and it's a very small group that's still doing it to this day. So you can't be upset at the Caucasian people for following the guidelines that they were laid out and gave the red carpet to, because if we were in that same boat, we will follow the red carpet as well. But one thing is, in America there was several different races, and a lot of us mixed in with each other, and I believe that a lot of us Aborigines are closely related. You know, the years down the line of our ancestors having kids with each other and mixing in, we probably have the same bloodline, a lot of us. And there's no real way of knowing that exactly. So that's just what I feel. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I deeply feel that. And these Caucasians also had variety of different races. They're as a mass Caucasians, but there are also several different races, just like we have several different races. Up in the United States, North America, there were several different races. South America, there were several different races. And we shared the same kind of almost identity as the Australians and the Africans. Very similar people. And it's very similar people to us all over the world, but we are unique to this land. And one thing I did want to mention, it has always, I mean, always been about the land. You know, in research, we look past a lot of events that happen. And one event that I just happened to run into basically is a pretty recent event. And it was basically a government land grab. And it's amazing to me that everyone missed this, because for the simple fact, the Oklahoma City bombing with Timothy McVeigh. So what they do, they use the same narrative, they use the same guidelines. So they get this guy, ex-military, so-called racist, that goes and bombs this place, the federal building. So he bombed this building, but what they don't tell you, which later came out, he was hired on by the government, and they kind of brushed it off in the media. So he was hired on as a special unit in this event, because he was already a hired hit because he's military. If they want you to, if you're part of the military and they want you to do something like a special op event, like, you're in position to do that already. You have no say so, basically, because you're military. You do what they tell you to do because that's in your contract. But anyway, what a lot of people don't know is that Oklahoma City was struggling financially, right? So so-called struggling financially. I don't know how true that is, but that was in the documentary that I seen. But anyway, they got a federal grant for millions of dollars. Millions, like, I want to say anywhere from like 50 to over $100 million for this project for urban development, because we are the consumers. They want to bring us in to spend money. So by us being consumers, they want to advertise for us. And with this money, they didn't start the project yet. But what they did was they hired Timothy McVeigh and this crew to bomb the federal building, which housed all the documents for the federal grant, the real estate information, the landlord information, everything that related to this project was destroyed in that bombing. Do that sound familiar? Isn't that the same thing they did with our census, of our ancestors' census? Destroy them to hide a lot of the information? Well, I tell you what, they bombed this place and double back and act like, oh, we didn't hire you. You did that on your own. You were a racist. You were crazy. You're ex-military. We kicked you out of the military. He was still a part of the military at the time. He wasn't discharged or anything like that. He was just hired on, and they double backed and screwed him. So I'm going to leave off with this. The small group of government people, what they did was they got the land for free. They still had the money from the federal grant, and then they doubled down and got the money from the insurance on the project. Now, how genius is that? Y'all be easy.